the controversial Lagos to Calabar Coastal Highway project in defiance of public outcry. The presidential candidate expressed displeasure that the government is embarking on a job-losing project at the time of rampant unemployment. The former Ebonyi State governor alleged that Obi goes around to condemn people, thereby bringing judgment upon himself. Now let's take a listen to the Minister of Works and the former governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Umahi, speaking at a press conference organized by the Federal Ministry of Works earlier today.
Comments made by my brother, His Excellency P2B. I'm not supposed to comment about it because some people have already done the work, and I saw what Arise brought, the say courtesy channel, and they were bringing, similar scenario when His Excellency P2B was governor, and he made a statement. He said, any infrastructure that stands on the way of road construction must go, and there will be no compensation paid, quote and unquote. That's what he said. But look at me, by the human face of Renewed Hope Agenda administration, we are even paying for people that are illegally staying on the coastline and do not even have valid infrastructure and valid documents. That is messy. That is messy. Some people darken counsel without knowledge. There is devil in details. When you bring judgment, when you condemn people, you bring judgment upon yourself. And that's what he has done. And I think he's inciting some of the Southeast people that are not well informed. He's inciting them, and he gets them into trouble, and he doesn't go to fight for them. Wisdom is a defense. We know money is a defense. But wisdom gives life.
Meanwhile, the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has issued a cautionary statement to the governor of Anambra State, Charles Soludo, over alleged activities of Fulani herdsmen in the state. The Biafra agitators urged Governor Soludo to refrain from playing politics and prioritize the security matters in the state. According to IPOB, Governor Soludo's alleged desperation for a second term has led him to yield to pressure from what they called the Fulani hegemony. IPOB expressed concern over the alarming activities of Fulani herdsmen in various local government areas of Anambra State, particularly in Dunukofia, Awka North, South, Orumba North and South. They therefore called upon the residents of Anambra State to unite and combat all forms of insecurity within the state. In the meantime, the organized labor has given the federal government until May ending to finalize the process of implementing the new national minimum wage for workers. The president of the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, Joe Ajero, made the demand today in Abuja at the 2024 edition of the International Workers' Day. The labor leader warned that if the negotiation is not concluded by the end of this month, there may not be industrial peace in Nigeria. Ajero said the process of fixing the new national minimum wage was still ongoing and had witnessed robust engagement. He also said the Labour had placed a demand that the new act would have a 2-year lifespan with an agreement for automatic adjustment in wages anytime inflation exceeded 7.5%. He noted that the union further demanded that every employer with up to 5 workers should pay the new minimum wage. Ajero called for the strengthening of monitoring and compliance mechanisms in order to penalize a non-compliant state government. He also said that Nigerian workers deserve to have a national minimum wage that approximated a living wage. Still on Workers' Day, President Bola Tinubu has told Nigerian workers that an upward review of minimum living wage is imminent. Special advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngilale, disclosed this in a statement today commemorating this year's Workers' Day. The President lauded Nigerian workers for their hard work and fidelity to the nation's progress. He stressed that workers' welfare remains a priority to his government. Organized Labour has proposed 615,000 naira as the new minimum wage. Moving on, the House of Reps Committee on Petroleum Resources Downstream and Midstream has urged security agencies to clamp down on fuel marketers hoarding petrol and engaging in the arbitrary increment in the price of the premium commodity. In a statement today, jointly signed by the chairman of the two committees, Ikenga Ugochinyere and Henry Okoje, the lawmakers said they reached out to the stakeholders in the petroleum distribution value chain to end fuel queues in the country. The lawmakers said they have engaged the NNPCL, the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, and MDPRA, the Petroleum Product Retail Outlet Owners Association of Nigeria, Petron, and the Nigerian Association of Road Transport Owners, to mention a few. The committee said the disruptions in logistics supply have been taken care of, and the scarcity of petrol will be a thing of the past in the next few days. The lawmakers also accused some stakeholders of economic sabotage and asked security agencies to clamp down on them. On the World News at 6 this evening, we'll be moving into the news interview segment, and today I have Mr. Awa Omiko of the Sunday editorial desk. Good evening, Mr. Omiko. Welcome to the World News at 6.
Good evening, Chairman.
Thank you so much for joining me. I'm very well. Thank you so much, and happy Workers' Day. Let's begin with the Lagos to Calabar Coastal Road, which seems to have been causing a lot of issues recently. From presidential candidates talking about it to Nigerians looking at it, and also people who have lost their investment due to the places, the beachfront buildings that have been demolished for this coastal road. Just today, the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, accused the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi of inciting Igbos into administration by his utterances, where he made statements saying it is not too late to discontinue the Lagos-Calabar Highway project, saying there are other urgent necessities, there's nationwide insecurity, there's poverty eradication, healthcare that the government could be looking at rather than spending 15 trillion naira on the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. But Umahi is saying, look, he said when Peter Obi was governor of Anambra State, he said that any infrastructure that stands on the way of any road project will be demolished without compensation. But this present administration is even trying to give compensation even to illegal structures, and Peter Obi has no right to be talking down on this kind of investment or this kind of project. Would you say you agree with the Minister of Works on this one, where he said Peter Obi is trying to incite people of the southeast against Tinubu's administration?
I wouldn't call that incitement. Peter Obi has every right to air his view. He's a Nigerian. But Peter Obi is just trying to look at the exigencies of the time. Hello?
I'm with you, Mr. Omiko.
Okay. Peter Obi is just trying to look at the exigencies of the time. And he has all rights under Nigerian Constitution to his views. That road is is key. At least if done, it will further open up the southeast and further encourage trade, boost trade between the west and the east, and further make sure that other activities within that area comes alive. That is a good project. It's a laudable one. But when we begin to talk about developmental processes, they're about to be some people that will be wounded, because the issue of national interest does not state interest, state or national interest does not favor everybody. When we begin to bring state interest to it, you discover that a lot of houses will be demolished without compensation. And if I thought they were they are compensated, they will never be duly properly compensated. So that goes to say that the project is laudable, and I've never seen a place where things like that goes on without destruction. And anyway, when we talk about P2B and Umahi, Well, Umahi too is just trying to defend his own ministry and to make sure that his paymasters see him in their good books. So Umahi cannot talk down on Obi because Umahi is a fly when it comes to Obi. Umahi can never talk down on him. And I know Obi has remained an icon of development, an icon of integrity, an icon of social welfare and clamor. So if you begin to compare votes, I don't think both are in the same class. And besides, during the time of Obi actually made such comments, especially when it comes to when he was developing Anambra State. But at times issues don't change. Things may be similar, but they may never be the same. The exigency, the problems we are facing now goes beyond road construction, goes beyond opening up new roads. How about what are the roads within the country? How good are they? Maybe that's simply what Toby is trying to say. Put the ones within the country, put them alive. Then we need to talk of opening a bigger class, a bigger road. Then how be it, there's never a good time to do any project other than now. Because if you keep on saying we're going to have until you have all the whole money to pay everybody to do things, we might end up not paying that. Obi and Umahi shouldn't mix. Obi shouldn't mix words with Umahi. They are two different persons, and let them remain their individual grounds. But that project should go concurrently with developing others. We have the money to do that. Only we need the willpower to continually carry out internal projects. Nigeria is rich enough to back and pay compensations to all those people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Amiko. You're saying the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, does not need to join issues with the Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi, as there are different people in different classes doing different things. But here is the thing. Obi, as a former presidential candidate, keeps speaking, is acting as an opposition, keeps speaking on every policy, every infrastructure, everything that this present administration is doing. One would argue that is the work of the opposition, to look at how things can be done better, and if they were the ones in power, how they would do it. Obi has talked about the reported demolition of businesses and residents in the designated right-of-way for the project, saying they're insensitive. He's saying it is heart-wrenching. He was lamenting that livelihoods were being wiped away. And we know that the owner of a landmark pitch has been talking about how this was not the plan initially, that this was not what he was told, that all of this infrastructure would be taken down. And they're saying, okay, we'll give you compensation. A number of people have to share about 2.7 billion naira in compensation. Would that be enough to cater to all of those infrastructure that they've built over the years? Landmark posted something on social media today, and they said 6 years of hard work was demolished in just 6 hours. And it's like, this is what this government is doing to us. You have said it is a laudable project, but what about the demolitions? Can we say that these are things that just had to happen for Nigeria to have this investment?
Well, it's quite a pity, and it's quite a pity that this is happening at this time. But I will say, if those people are not properly compensated, we have the court. Let them take government to court. Government should compensate them. What is 2.5 billion naira? What is that amount? So people have even put in much more money, and these are borrowed money. And when it is you put borrowed money into business, the bankers or those that loan you the money does not want to hear that it's an accident. They don't want to know of any of that. The interest keeps on reading. If they feel they've not been properly compensated, if they sat on table and they did the judging and they feel they've not been properly compensated, let them go to court. That is one of the reasons. What is one of the things the court there is? And I believe let them hold government accountable, and government will actually do that. And when we need to talk about P2B trying to speak against anything federal government, yes. That is the sense of opposition party. Opposition party will be there to criticize you. Nigeria is what we are today because we have a very weak opposition party. Our opposition parties are boot lickers. They are not saying the real thing. You go back to the days of the Shagari regime, and go back to other similar regimes. You will see that the opposition is very strong. When the opposition is very strong, it makes the government in power to sit up.
Would you say the Labour Party has been that formidable opposition so far?
Look at every amount of money being spent and being stolen. because the positions are very weak. Nobody is talking about that. Obi should do more. We need more of the Obis. Let them speak out. At least it will help to check the sitting government. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Omiko, a final question on this particular topic. This Lagos to Calabar Coastal Highway project has been in the works for it's been in the pipeline for quite some time, about 2 years now. They've been talking about it, and this present administration they are now actually making not just plans, but going ahead to try to start on it. Some people, many Nigerians, critics of this government, and even supporters alike, have expressed worry about the amount of time it will take to complete the project before the roads will be viable, before they'll start using the roads. These are coastal roads that are to be used by people who are transporting goods and from one point of the nation to another, from Lagos to Calabar, through the roads by the waterside, by the seaside. How much time will it actually take for this to take off? Not just the project in itself, but between the completion of the project and when we will be able to start using these roads, the 15 trillion naira that is going into it, and all the businesses that suffered. Would it not be best that it happens all at once, so that all of these people will know that they made sacrifices for the good of the nation?
Well, that depends on the construction company, and depends on the government too, and depends on the will of the people. If there's no much litigation, I think the work will go smoothly, and government itself on its own should be sensitive to the people. Don't pauperize the people because you want to give them infrastructure or social amenities. Don't pauperize them. That is exactly what Obi is saying. But let there be proper compensation, and let the work go on. If there's proper compensation, there won't be much litigation. And in a place where there's a litigation, it slows the job. It slows for the project. And once that happens, you keep on spending more money. And in this case, it is true, you can start, you cannot finish it. Let's look at the longest bridge, the so-called IRBD bridge in Lagos. Habibi never started it, but he finished it. Tinubu is trying to create a name for himself, and he's trying to carve a niche so that you have a laudable project after him. If he actually started it, or as he's trying to start it, yes, another government could finish it. The one thing with us is that we don't always finish projects. We leave the projects in comatose, and that is one of the things that sets our economy backwards. And in a place where things like that are happening in a growing economy, it does not speak well for us. If only Tinubu could have the willpower to start it and do the needful, I think it's possible to finish it before he leaves office.
All right,
it's
then.
Possible.
All right, Mr. Omiko, let's move on, but still in the southeast, right? The IPOB has issued what they call a cautionary statement to the governor of Anambra State, Governor Charles Soludo, saying that he should check the activities of Fulani herdsmen in the state. They're saying he should stop playing politics and prioritize the security matters in the state. That insecurity has been at an all-time high. They're saying they are marauding Fulani terrorists, masquerading and posing as herdsmen in various local governments who have been killing people and who have been causing bloodshed in the state. They are saying Governor Charles Soludo is desperate for his second term, and that is why he's succumbing to pressure and not actually dealing with issues of insecurity in the state. I'd like to get your opinion on that.
You see, I'm highly disappointed at Professor Soludo.
You are disappointed in him.
At him. You see, when it comes to the issue of governance, he's trying to play politics, mixing politics with economy and governance. And when such a thing comes up, you see the governor begins to speak from both sides of his mouth. It's not forthcoming. What is the nexus of your government? The nexus, the way you started at first, they went off. The insecurity there. No, I agree that Anambra State is one of the inroads to the southeast. But we should be able to stand to say this is what the law says about grazing, and this is what the law says about moving of arms or moving of heads or movement of people. I was at Anambra at that time. I wept simply because of the way these Fulani people are going about. At least with the herds, with the sheep, and with their cattle. That shouldn't be. Let there be a place where the thing should be, and let them know that this is that is a state and not just a field. By the time you give them that freedom to act, in fact, don't be surprised, they may end up taking over the state. I think the security situation there is still bad. It's still bad. And he has not really put down his foot to actually make sure the needful is done. Let him connect with other states. Let them come together. Let them partner with other states within that region, and make sure that the needful is done. It is not about ego. It is not about my state is better than it. It is about security. And a country and a state without security is gone. No matter what you do in terms of your social welfare, no matter what you do in terms of investment and other things. If there is no security, if the justice system is bad, there's nothing else you can do. That is why you see, if you watch, there's a gradual mass movement of people from Anambra State. And these are businessmen. I don't know. There's a gradual mass movement. I don't know. And it should be checked. These people are investing outside Anambra State. And what do you think is the cause? It's something like this. Soludo should sit up, or else his government will be worse than any other government in that region. Thank you. Okay,
it's Workers' Day, and we'll not leave without actually talking about the demand that the NLC has been making. Right now, the NLC is saying if there is no minimum wage by the end of this month, there will be no peace for this present administration. That's Comrade Joe Ajero, who's president of the NLC, is saying he made the demand today at, of course, this year's edition of the International Workers' Day, saying we're demanding 615,000 naira minimum wage, and that's what we want. 35% that you've added, we don't want that. It's not enough for us. He's saying, in fact, any employer with up to 5 workers should pay the new minimum wage. Now, if that is the case, if you say any employer with up to 5 workers should pay the new minimum wage, you expect private businesses to also pay 615,000 naira as a minimum wage if it is approved, right? He's also saying anytime, here's the thing, Mr. Omiko, he's saying anytime inflation exceeds 7.5%, then the minimum wage should be adjusted.
Yeah, that's a very dream. That's a very tall dream. It's an utopian statement which cannot be justified. You cannot just increase salary without productivity. What is your level of production? How much money do you make out of the economy? The old minimum wage. Some states are still struggling. Some states have their governors have automatic. Some states, their governors are more or less Abuja governors because they are going there to beg for money to settle salaries of civil servants. And when you need to look at this, all this clamor for increments in salary is just as a result of the inflation. There are other ways to make sure that this inflation comes down. And if you may ask me to suggest, I would say let's take away 1,000 naira notes. Take away 500 naira notes. Don't put them in mods. Don't put too much of them. Hello?
I'm with you, Mr. Omiko.
Don't put too much of 1,000 and 500. Let's print more of the smaller denomination. By the time you do this, you see that the goods, the money chasing those ones things will begin to improve.
How will that help to curb inflation?
Mobbing. There's too much money in the economy. And this too much money is because of the wrong policy, wrong policy implementation of the CBN. By bringing a non-developmental economics to help CBN, that is in the person of MFLA. All those we did during that period, it is the effect we are now seeing. It has created too much money. All those money is stolen, and all those money is stocked in their system. And especially when they say they want to change naira from 100 from the new naira to gas color to the old naira, there was a lukuma that made excess money to remain in the economy. And that excess money is what we are now seeing. And it is the impact of that excess money we are now seeing. So what is government supposed to do? Do mobbing effect. Do systematically withdrawal of this 1,500. And gradually bring up 15 naira 1,000 and coins.
Okay.
Just as it is done in Great Britain and America. You see things will on its own come down.
Right.
I am not a student of an increment salary, but I'm a student of strategic planning and policy and policy implementation. We need to go back to food production and agriculture. If you keep on increasing, and there's no production to match your increment, you will keep on increasing until it will get to a level where you will not see anything to increase again.
Okay.
Our production level, internally and otherwise, should match the money we produce. Now, most companies are not producing. They are at a standstill because there's no power, there's no road. The other systems are bad, insecurity here and there. Then now tell me, such a company, you now want them to pay the new minimum wage. Where will they get it? Cry to the moon? No.
Okay.
The answer should be, let there be a proper physical planning of mopping the currency in circulation.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Awamiko, for joining me on the World News at 6 this evening. I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much and have an amazing evening.
Thank you.
You're still listening to the World News at 6 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. On the foreign in the UK government confirmed today it has detained an unspecified number of migrants in recent days who are said to be deported to Rwanda in July under its controversial new policy. This comes a week after lawmakers ended months of parliamentary wrangling and passed a contentious law allowing some asylum seekers to be deported by declaring Rwanda to be a safe third world country. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, who has vowed to stop migrants arriving on small boat from mainland Europe, vowed last week to begin detaining people promptly before deportation flights start within 10 to 12 weeks. And that's it on the World News at 6. Just before we wrap up, let's take a look at the top stories again. You heard that Umahi has claimed Peter Obi is inciting the Igbos against Tinubu's government. IPOB sends a strong warning to Governor Soludo over Fulani headsmen. No minimum wage by end of May. No peace. Labour warns the federal government. And the House of Reps asks security agencies to clamp down on marketers holding petrol. On the foreign scene, UK confirms the first migrants held for Rwanda deportation flights. And that is a wrap on the World News at 6. My name is Ijeoma Innocent. Please follow our social media handles at VOP 903 FM. Good evening and thank you for listening.